Hi everyone, it's Carrie, aka Nerdy Girl Creates, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday Rewind, but it's a very special Wednesday Rewind. Why, you ask? Well, if you haven't noticed, my channel finally hit over 100 subscribers, and I wanted to thank each and every one of you who did subscribe. So I took a suggestion that was made to me recently from one of you guys that asked if I got to 100, would I review a What If comic? And I thought that was a good idea, but I thought, it'd be even more interesting if I reviewed 3 of them I've never read before. So on Twitter, I asked you guys to make some suggestions, and I picked 3 of them. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so the first issue is number 34, which I believe came out in 1986. And this What If comic is different from all the other What Ifs because it doesn't focus on one story. Actually, it doesn't focus on any story. So what do I mean by that? Well, here's some examples. What if Ghost Rider had possessed someone else, like Ghost Baby? What if everyone who ever been an Avenger had remained an Avenger? And poor Jarvis is seen here being flustered, figuring out how to take care of all these people. What if Black Bolt got hiccups? What if the Hulk were yellow? What if the Invisible Girl dyed her hair? What if Power Man were white? No, seriously, they have that in here. What if the Thing was blue? Crazy scenarios. One of the funniest ones in here is, what if Spider-Man battled intellectually instead of physically with his opponents? And you have this whole scenario where he is battling them with wits. And it's, as the Watcher puts it, very boring. Other examples are, what if the mailman from Fantastic Four was the Herald to Galactus? What if all the superheroes who lived in New York moved to Toledo, Ohio? What if the Watchers and all the realities got together and watched the Watchers of the Watchers? Yeah, it's funny, and it's not something you'd probably go back to read, or maybe we would just to show people how hilarious this concept is. Out of the 3, though, I wouldn't call it my favorite, but it is funny to just take a look at. So the next one is issue 40, which is, I think, also from 1986. It is, what if Doctor Strange had not become master of the mystic arts? And in this one, everything plays out in the beginning pretty much like the Doctor Strange origin did. He does have the car crash. He does lose the use of his hands. He goes to seek help from the Ancient One. But instead, Mordo is selected by the Ancient One to be Sorcerer Supreme. Because he decides to trust him even though there is some doubt there. And you start to question, like, is he really trying to be a good guy? Is he not? And meanwhile, Doctor Strange goes back to New York and decides to become a medical teacher. But he is also haunted by nightmares, as if something is trying to tell him to get back on the right path in his destiny. This one was very interesting. I did like this concept. It was really interesting. As you see things unfold, the story gets really intriguing. I don't want to spoil it because I do suggest that you read this one. It's kind of like, I could see Doctor Strange choosing to want to have the normal life if things played out a certain way. And it's a nice alternative reality. I don't know if this story is actually going to play into tonight's What If storyline, because I know it's Doctor Strange focus on the Disney Plus episode. But it would be really cool to see. And, again, I would say check this one out. I like this one. The final one is issue 10, which is, what if Jane Foster had found the Hammer of Thor instead of Donald Blake? Now, somebody asked me if I did read this one to kind of compare it to the recent Jane Foster taking on the mantle of Thor. That one, I wasn't a big fan of. Not saying that the story was bad or good. It was just coming out at a time during the whole all new, all different era for Marvel where everybody was getting changed to somebody else. And it was just kind of like I was losing interest because everybody got changed, and it was like, now we're going to make Thor a woman. And in the beginning, you didn't know it was Jane Foster. Spoiler alert. But compared to this, I think the newer version was a better story. This one is more following the original origins of Thor when he got banished to Earth inside the body of Donald Blake, and Thor's hammer was in this cave. And Donald Blake finds the hammer, which looks like a stick, and once he smashes the stick on the ground, he becomes the mighty Thor. Well, something happens where instead of Donald entering the cave, it's Jane. She finds the stick, and she ends up with the powers of Thor. Now, Odin's upset. He was planning on Donald finding it, so he could get his son back eventually, and his son can learn a lesson about humility. Lady Sif is also upset because she wanted her lover back. So now they're trying to figure out how to fix things so everything goes on the right path. And it was an okay story. I think you had more depth in the newer one because you had Jane dealing with the cancer and still feeling like somebody needed to pick up the hammer and take on the powered Thor. Even though technically Thor was still around, it wasn't like he died. But this story is more, basic. It's a product of its time, I should say. It's not very in-depth like you would get with the recent storyline. I would say check it out if you want to see what it's about. But I would say out of the three, my favorite was the Doctor Strange one. My second, I would say, would be the Thor issue. Because you do get a complete story compared to the first issue I reviewed. Again, I really like the Doctor Strange one the most. This one was okay. Compared to the newer story with Jane, I would prefer you read the newer story with Jane because it gives a lot more reason why she's... How could I say this? It gives you a lot more validation why she's Thor than this does. It's just accidentally finds the hammer. The final one would be the issue 34, which is just a zany, fun, like a whole bunch of different scenarios, not an actual story. Like I said, it's kind of funny just like to show people, but it wouldn't be something I'd be constantly going back to read. So, tell me down below in the comment section, what's your favorite What If? And if I do get to 200 subscribers, what would you like to see me do next? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.